So we are here with Daniel Jevaux. You can, yeah.
Jevaux.
Jevaux. Is it French?
It's French, but my father's family came from Switzerland to Brazil.
Okay. So we are gonna be talking about the Florida real estate market, but Daniel was the realtor that closed with us the first directly tokenized property. And we're going to be talking about the Florida real estate market, we're going to be talking about the impact of the interest rates, and we're going to be talking and opening questions about the first property that we tokenize, as much as probably future plans, or even open questions for the community to Daniel. So welcome, Danny.
Thank you very much.
So why we don't start explaining a little bit about what we had from real estate market before, what we're facing right now, and later explaining like some factors that we should consider when analyzing any kind of investments or a property.
Perfect. To give a better perspective of the real estate market right now, I'm going to go back a little bit and I'm going to get the last 20 years more or less, and I will split in four different aspects of each one. Before 2008, more or less in 2000 and 2001, when we had a recession here, the Federal Reserve, or the financial industry here in the United States, basically took off all regulamentations about how you could package a mortgage and sell to some people. And also they eased the process of getting a loan. So before 2008, or what drove the market to the crash in 2008, was Mariana could buy 5 properties with no down payment, so you had no equity in the property. During a 5-year period, you paid interest only, and you could do whatever you want. You didn't have to prove income. You didn't have to have a job. You didn't have to have any assets to give it as collateral. The bank would just finance to you and take that asset, that property only, as a collateral.
And that's why the
Mariana,
crash happened?
Exactly. So Mariana did that, and Mariana thought, okay, there's people living in rent, so I'm going to buy another property with no down payment, with nothing of that, and I'm going to rent. And you did that once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And everybody started doing that. At the point that your tenant that was living in your property thought, if I don't have to have a job, an income, or assets, why am I paying rent? Why don't I just do the same thing? And then they start doing the same thing. So as you can see, at some point, there were more houses than people to live in houses. And the houses were sitting empty. And as I told in the beginning, for the first 5 years, you were just paying interest. And the interest started at 0 and went up to 5. So you start paying this much, and now 5 years later, you're paying that much. And also after 5 years, the bank sends you a letter saying, Mariana, your 5 years interest only is over. Now you need to pay the principal. And you had 5 houses. And people that were living in that houses started to leave those houses because they were doing the same thing. So you just said, okay, I didn't put any money down on that in this house. I have no equity. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give back to the bank. I'm not going to pay for an asset that I'm not using, worth less than my debt, and I'm not going to do it. So everybody started doing the same thing, stopped paying their mortgage. The bank took everything, and the bank, so they don't have a massive loss, start to sell those houses to pay off your debt. And that's what caused the crash, because imagine the banks with all this inventory trying to sell at the same time. So the prices went down. And now because of that problem, that everybody was not paying their mortgage anymore, the banks were not lending to people buy more property. So you have the basic problem in economy. You have an excess of supply and low demand. So the market crashed 2008 to 2010. And what was the response of the government to fix that problem? Printing money. Let's put money in the market so people can start spending money again and make the economy go up. So as the government here in America start printing money and what they call quantitative easing, which is basically putting money in the market, the dollar weakened. You remember in Brazil the dollar was 1.8. It was cheaper to buy. It was cheaper for a Brazilian at that moment, 2010, 2012, to buy a property here in Miami than in São Paulo. So that's why a lot of Brazilians came, a lot of South Americans came, a lot of people from Russia came, and it started to pull the market up from 2010 until 2014. A lot of new pre-constructions. So, and the problem of that market was that people that were buying were not the people that were going to live there, because they are in Brazil, they are in Russia, they are in Colombia, they are in Venezuela. So they're buying as an investment. So the market goes up. What happened in 2014? The dollar started to go up. For us Brazilians, the dollar went from 2 to 4. Yeah. So for Brazilians, for South Americans, for Russia, the dollar got its strength again. It started to be a strong currency, and foreigners were not buying anymore. So when you see the numbers, you see that from 2014 until 2017, here in Miami specifically, the market was flat. Was not going up, was not going down, was flat, because it was kind of in an equilibrium. And in that period, all the pre-construction started to be delivered. So here in Brickell, just here in Brickell, there were 2,000 apartments for sale. In whole Miami-Dade County, there was, at some point in 2017, 2018, 19,000 units for sale, 19 apartments for sale, because as I told you, people were not living here. What happened in 2017? Donald Trump was the president, and he changed the federal tax return law. Here in America, for people that don't live here, you have the federal income taxes and you have the state income taxes. So people in the states, in New York, in California, in most of the states, there are 7 states that doesn't charge income state, and Florida is one of them. Before Trump, everything that you paid on the state level, you could put as a credit on the federal, so you wouldn't be taxed twice. So when Trump got into office, he put a cap of $10,000. So you can only put as a credit on the federal up to $10,000. So if you paid $50,000 in state income taxes, from those 50, you could only take off 10 for the federal. So you were going to pay 40 again. So people in New York, for example, they were paying 48, 49, 50% of income taxes. In California, the same thing. So what those people start to do in 2017, that we see the sales here in Florida go up starting on 17. So from 14 to 17 was flat. In 17 start to go up again, because people from those states, the high income taxes states, were buying properties here and transferring their fiscal residency to Florida, so they wouldn't pay taxes there. So then you can see that even though the foreigners were not coming, people from America were moving down to do that. And that was from 2017 to 2019, 20. And in 2020, what happened? COVID. And as everybody knows, Florida was one of the states with the easiest mandates against COVID. So it was easy for people to live here. They are locked down in their penthouse in New York, $20 million, $30 million, but they cannot use the elevator. They cannot use the amenities, the pool, the gym, nothing. They cannot use anything. So they start doing what? First wave, they start buying houses here. So we had about 8,000 houses for sale. It went down to 2. We have 2,000 houses right now available. Other than everything else that was put on the market, we consumed the inventory and put more. So after they can't find houses anymore, where they go to? To apartments. Remember that I said in 2017, we had 19,000 apartments for sale. Now we have about 8 or 7. So that shows that the market here is being absorbed by the local market, not the foreigner. And here in Florida, also people that were living in a condo start going to houses, so we increase the demand. And not only that, with all the work from home policies from the companies, they realize, okay, If I'm working from home, I need a better home. Or if I'm working from home, I don't need to live in South Dakota anymore. I can live in Florida. So a lot of people start moving here. Last year, 550,000 people moved to Florida. And this year, on the first 4 years, we already exceeded the last year. So I brought this story to say it's not a bubble, because 30% of the houses here in Florida are being bought in cash. 52% of the condos are being bought in cash. So it's not a bubble, because it's not Mariana buying 5 properties. That wasn't what drove the price up. What drove the price up was people moving from other states here, and now companies are moving here, and now people that want to work on those companies are going to move here. Of course, the market's going to flat a little bit, but I don't see in any shape or form any reason, even with the interest rates up, the market to crash. In a general perspective, if you look at the numbers from 1980 to now, in every recession, the prices of real estate went up, except 2008, because it was caused by that. Why? Because when you have recession and you have stock markets going down and bonds market going down, people protect themselves on real estate. And also we have inflation, 8% inflation. A lot of people saying, oh, I'm sitting on cash. That's the dumbest thing to do, because you're losing 8% to inflation. So people park their money in real estate. And the rent market is the same thing. If you look all the data from 1980 until now, in all period of recession, during the recession, usually the rents go up more than the average of the other years. Why? Mariana is sensing that the market is going down, the economy is slowing. What Mariana does, okay, I have this mortgage that I need to pay. I don't want to be in financial distress, so I'm going to sell my house, cash that money, and I'm going to start rent. So a lot of people, the demand for rent goes up during recession, so the prices go up. So if you buy real estate, if you invest in real estate, you're going to get the appreciation of the asset on the long term, and you're going to make more money on the rent. So that's the big picture of the market, especially here in Miami, but all in America. We have low inventory, we have high inflation, so people protecting buying real estate, and 38% of the homes in America don't have a mortgage. 38% of homes in America don't have a mortgage. And for those that have a mortgage, different from what it was in 2008, 50%, 60% is a fixed rate. So if the interest rates go up, they are not going to be affected, and is lower than 2%. So there's no, in the big picture scenario, there's no reason to believe that the real estate market's going to crash.
Perfect. And when we analyze the factors of choosing a property, at least like here in Florida at all, how would be the facts, and even like example, which variables can we analyze when looking for a property, and what would be the difference between a cap of an investor and a cap of someone that wants to really live in the house? What is the difference, perspectives, and analysis we should be doing?
Number one is to understand what your goals are. Are you going to live in that property? If you're going to live in that property, the numbers are important, but emotions play a bigger role, because you want to feel good in that property. If you're going to buy a condo, you need to feel good in the condo, the amenities, the area that you are located, the commute that you need to do. Some people don't mind the commute, so they rather live in a nice place and having to commute than sacrificing the place just to be close to their house or to their condo and to their work. So if you're going to live in the property, you need to understand if that's the area that you want to live, and if that's the kind of property you want to live. And at the end of the day, there's either price, location, or size. One of those things you need to be flexible to sacrifice. If you're buying for investment, then you have much more things to analyze. Number one, what kind of investment are you looking for? Are you looking to do long-term rent, or you're looking to do short-term rent, which is huge now in Miami because we don't have enough hotel rooms available. So if you're going to do short-term, you need to pay attention to mainly two things. Does the city allow to do short-term? And if you're buying a condo, does the condo association allow you to do short-term? In Miami Beach, for instance, you cannot do short-term rental Airbnb in residential areas, strictly residential areas. And if you do, you get a fine of $20,000. So maybe your whole profit is going to go away. And if you go to another area that you are allowed to do by the city, you need to see if the association allows. How is the policies on the association? Some association allow 30 days. Some association allows daily rent, so you need to understand that. And after you analyze this, you need to understand also what kind of clients do you want to have. Here in Miami, usually the people that rent here, they rent for a shorter period of time than people that rent in Broward, for instance. In Broward, I have some clients that have vacation homes there. People usually rent for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a whole month, coming from Chicago, coming from Detroit, coming from the northern states. And here in Miami, you have a different demographic. What does that play to the investor? People that rent for a shorter term are willing to pay more for a daily rate, but also you have more expenses because you have to clean the apartment, clean the units, and sometimes you have more expenses to buy new things, to change the linen to your place or whatever. And when you do longer term, you have less cost, but also they are going to pay a little bit less on a daily because they want to negotiate, because they are going to be more with a longer period. When you're renting for the short terms, those are the things. If you're renting for long term, it's usually better to be in areas that you have a hospital, a university, office environment that is big, like here in Brickell, that you have a lot of demand for that unit. In the end, I'm an economist. I went to college for 5 years to learn supply and demand. That's it. That's what economists go to college for, to learn just that thing. And you need to understand if people are going to buy there. And people are buying Florida, people are buying South Florida, and within South Florida, where is the city is expanding. And that's why prices of real estate here go up. You look South Florida on the map, in one side you have the ocean, and the other side you have the swamp, the Everglades. So there's no way to expand, so that's why prices go up.
Exactly. And when goes to the analysis of, I'm a young person and we strict ourselves to understand, should I buy? Should I rent? Should I buy and take a mortgage? So what would be the variables to analyze in a Excel sheet?
Well, it's funny to say, because I just did a video for my YouTube channel showing that. A year ago, everybody was already complaining that the prices were crazy. And I did a video showing how much money you would lose if you wait 1 year to buy a property. Why? Because in that 1 year, the property price would go up and the interest rates would go up. So you lose twice, on the property price and on the interest rates.
If you don't buy in cash, right?
No, even if you finance, because if you finance a year ago, you would have a lower interest rates. Now you have a higher. So if you buy now compared to 1 year ago, a $500,000 property from 1 year ago now is 565 more or less, 13% increase, and you are going to pay throughout 30 years about $200,000, about $300,000 more in interest, because the interest back then was 2.4 and now it's 5.4. So that's a huge gap. So back to your question, should I wait or should I buy? If you wait and you rent, let's assume that you have the money to put down and you can't afford the mortgage. Should I wait? The predictions for the next year is an increase of the prices in 9%. So you're already losing 9% if you're not buying, if you have the money to put the down payment. Inflation is 8%. So if you hold the down payment for 1 year, you're losing 8% on that money. So you already lost 9% of the price, and you already lost 8% of the inflation. So 17% is gone. You're already losing 17% for waiting 1 year. Not only that, instead of putting your money towards a mortgage and your property, because when you pay a mortgage, you pay the interest and the principal, you are paying rent. So the money of the rent, it's gone. You don't have it. So, of course, buying makes more sense even in a market like this, because Daniel, but the interest rates are higher. Yes, they are. But in 4 years, when the interest rates are down, you can refinance with a lower interest rate, take the money out from the appreciation that your asset had, put money in your pocket, and reduce your monthly payment for the future. And you play as the market goes. The market goes up in 8 or 10 years, you can sell your property, or you can again refinance your property and take the money out and invest in something. My personal analysis is, if I'm buying my first property, I want to buy a property that makes me money, not a property that I'm going to live in. I want to buy a property that makes me money, and with that money I can either pay my rent or I can pay the mortgage of my property. Why I would do that? Because in a moment of recession, especially for people that just have one income, in a moment of recession, if you lose your job, how are you going to pay your rent or your mortgage if you don't have another source of income? So my personal opinion is, first property makes money. Second property, you live wherever you want.
It is a good strategy, and I would like to hear a little bit of what is the people with us thinking about it. And I don't know, Mateus, do we have any questions from the community or questions to be answered by Danielle?
I don't think so.
So I have a question for Mariana.
Okay.
How is the NFT market going to play out in the real estate? What's the strategy, or what's the rationale with Housebit and NFTs and real estate?
So I think the overall crypto market is going down a little bit in supply and demand, pretty much also because the interest rates, where people just kind of want to get out of more risky assets, and they want to have more stable assets, and of course real estate is one of them, but as much as bonds, treasury, and whatever titles that we can have backed by the interest rates or inflation or whatever percentage tax we have here. So when we talk about the NFTs, we don't see that much still like the education for NFTs with real estate. So if we understand we can provide short-term rent when people are allowed to come in, to come out, and having even still a good pricing in this property that you said that the condo allow this kind of things, we would be creating an easy way of getting the property, getting out, taking the first money back, and also being able to have like a better investment strategy if you are the owner of the property and you wanna rent it. So I think it will be tricky because we are talking about a real asset and still talking about a technology that's making people right now run a little bit away from.
Yeah.
So we will need to find this balance and the equilibrium, but I guess the education needs to be here to explain people how different is to have an asset, a digital asset that will be backed for a real estate property or whatever other real asset that we have in the world. We play way different than just like a coin backed by a project, or a digital asset backed by a community, or backed by something that is not solid and very difficult to be tangible. So the education needs to be done. There's a lot of projects that right now just to be called stable coins is getting people fears. But again, we need to come back to the principles and the mechanism. If something just doesn't look like a real and just look like a Ponzi scheme, like we were talking before, we just need to understand the principles behind the mechanism that assets. And this is all about education and onboarding people and making people understand in an easy way how this can be good for a model and how this can be good for a real life purpose. And I think here is the play and the game that we are playing that is really like facilitating people's life through like a big legacy we have in real estate with a lot of problems, so a little bit illiquidity depending where we are talking to, or inaccessibility because we don't have so much people being able to really purchase or having like accessibility for this kind of investments. So if right now you don't need to take a mortgage, you don't need to finance a big property for you to be able to have this percentage of returns backed by your asset, so why not, right?
Yeah, what attracted me to this model was before I don't understand art. I really don't like. So for me, when NFT started, it started more in that helm, in the digital world. So I was not interested because art is subjective and art is fashion. So if Andy Warhol is the fashion icon at this moment, his art's going to go up. If he's not, his art's going to go down. And of course we have the first movers, which also is a factor that played in most of NFTs in the beginning, and now everybody's trying to copy, and 99.9% are not going to be successful. But once you attach the real asset on the NFT, and you are using an NFT as a vehicle to invest in an easier way on those assets, then I start to be interested. Because yes, buying real estate, it's a hard process. You need to find, you need to do a due diligence, you need to have a title company. And here in America, everything is easier. Like in our country, in Brazil, you never know what you're actually buying. There's always something, like if the guy had a debt that was not recorded in a mortgage in our country, in Brazil, and you buy a property, 5-10 years later, the owner of this debt can come, Mariana, your property is mine because I have this. Oh, but I bought it like this, I don't care. Here in America, you still, at least you have the title insurance that protects you from this. But it still is a process. It's not easy to buy and sell a real estate property. But with NFT, everything makes everything easier because you have your market there and you can just go there and buy and sell. And for rents, even better. For rents now you can arbitrage the rent. You can buy the NFT, and if you see if the rent in that area is going up, since you are the owner of the right to occupy the property, you can sell your NFT for a higher price because now people are paying more to be in Brickell, for instance. So I think that's a very nice strategy. I think it's a very nice vehicle. I am very excited to see how we're going to play in this market. I agree with you, the moment right now is not the best for people that don't understand it, because you do need to buy the coin to buy the NFT. But I think once people understand that when they buy the token, the ownership token, whatever happened in the market doesn't matter because there's an asset on the crypto market, doesn't matter because there's a real asset behind it. Just like an investment fund, you have the stock and you have the company. If the company is solid and the stock price is going up, you just buy more. You just buy more because you know the company is solid. And I believe with the NFTs and the tokens with the real estate, the same thing is going to happen.
Yeah, I think we are just like, we have some terminology that we just understand, oh, NFT is what? NFT is the monkeys. So people do this kind of comparisons because the way really the market understood that this was, but it starts in this way because it was an easy way of understanding the utility behind. That was like NFT. What is NFT? It's a non-fungible asset. So it's not a coin that you change one coin for other coin and you can make this conversion. No, there is a specific value, specific traits, and specifically, I don't know, locations, like we talk about property, location, size, picture, color, whatever. So every asset is unique, and this is really the meaning behind NFT. It's not monkeys, it's not pictures, it's not even like community, it's everything. And we just need to educate people to understand. We're just talking about a digital asset that is making all this process behind it easier. Because as you said that the process can be long, we are talking now about all the process being done and having one NFT that is showing that you have the title, you are the one that has the really the power to exercise your rights, having that asset. The same right now we have with Apple Wallet, like is a digital way of you making your payments. So why not we cannot have our NFT being able even to bring it more liquidity, and after we are gonna be able to trade use the NFT, or even having your assets in a way that you can go to the market and you just pay with your assets. Of course, doesn't need to be the real estate, but we are opening a market for new possibilities. Example, why the ownership token you cannot use to borrow money against, or not maybe money, but you borrow stable coins that people are scary of. We have really good stable coins on the market. We have USDC, we have DAI, we have mai, we have stable coins that is over collateralized. So this means that we have a safe spot for these stable coins. It's not just like algorithmically supply and demand, programmable by smart contracts. No, we have stable coins that is really backed by assets. And why not these ownership tokens cannot give you the collateral to have more exposure to your investments, to your strategy, or even for some liquid capital?
Yeah, what I'm using to explain as a comparison to what is NFT and blockchain, and to people that don't understand, I tell them, okay, if you want to buy a property in Brazil, what do you have to do? Number one, you need to buy reais, because in Brazil you cannot buy anything with a foreign currency. So you need to buy the reais to access that economy, right?
And your reais is always backed by dollar, right?
Yes.
Everyone is following the other currency.
So I tell them, okay, so if you want to buy, for Brazilians, if you want to buy a property in America, what do you need to do? You need to buy dollars, right? So think about Brazil, America, or whatever country as the platform, right? One is Bitcoin, the other one is Ethereum, the other one is whatever. And to access whatever is in that platform, you need to buy their token. I need to buy the Bitcoin to access that platform. I need to buy the Ethereum to access that platform. And the assets that are behind that platform is what you actually are buying. So if I want to buy the NFT, the Housebeat NFT, I need to have Ethereum. So I need to buy the Ethereum, and with the Ethereum I trade for the NFT. If I want to buy the one that I just bought, the Pajama Jet private party, it's on the Ethereum. So I need to buy the Ethereum to buy that, and that is traded in Ethereum. So whatever happened to Ethereum, it only matters to me if I'm thinking about the Ethereum in dollar terms. And that's why I didn't like in the beginning, because with all the romantic idea about the blockchain, oh, because it's decentralized, oh, because it's not the government, it was for me all bullshit, because everybody was just looking at the dollar amount that they're buying and that they were selling. They didn't care about the technology. They didn't care about what you could do about it. You're just saying, oh, but I bought Bitcoin for $1,000 and now it's $13,000. And why the fuck that matters? Because you are saying that you don't like the dollars anyway. It's not fiat money, but you are converting to say you did a good investment. So for me, that was like, no, because there was nothing behind it. But now that you have an asset, okay, I'm looking at the asset. Whatever is in the front of the asset, of course, it needs to be in a platform that is trustable, that is trustful, that you can trust, so you don't go, if that platform bankrupts, you don't lose everything. So you need to understand that the platforms are, you need to buy the tokens to access the platforms, and through the platforms you invest in the assets. So that's the easiest way that I'm using to explain people what is this. Oh, the Ethereum is a country, and in this country you have a lot of investment opportunities. So you need to buy the currency of that country, Ethereum, to buy the monkey, to buy the crypto punks, to buy the Housebeat NFT, to buy whatever NFT that is there, and you need to look at that asset. Is that asset valid? Is that asset good? Why you're buying that art? Because you understand art, and because you understand the features of that art, or you're just buying for speculation. If you're buying for speculation, you're taking the risk.
Yeah, there is a big risk in speculating assets, but I think it's even like more permissionless. So, example, you are in the Ethereum or you are in whatever the chain, you can use also the other currencies that are in this chain in an easy way. And if you need to change the assets or the currency, like, oh, I am in Ethereum, I have Ethereum, you can go to the DEX, that is a decentralized exchange, and you can change for the currency there, and you're gonna be able even to make exposition to other coins, to other things, and even stable coins to buy the assets on that country that we are talking. And now we also have the bridges. So what means a bridge is a way of you passing some assets from one chain to other chain, and you don't need to be calling banks to make you like a proposal. You just go on internet to see if you like, if you don't like, and you just make it, right? So
taking an asset from one platform to the other.
Exactly.
Imagine you taking your house, okay, my house is now in America and I want to transfer my house to Brazil.
Exactly.
You cannot do that, but you can do on the blockchain.
Yeah, and also in the future of blockchain, we are talking a lot about interoperability and like ways of every chain be more connected. So we know that there is a lot of improvements that will happen in these technologies, and we are very early beginning for this, but also there is the premium when you are early in something, and you do your first and better moves, right? So even for the builders right now, we know that kind of okay, the VCs are putting a lower valuation in the companies. Maybe it's not everyone that is raising capital right now, but who is continuous, who is having like a healthy cash flow and can pass this little recession that we are having in all of the ways, and maybe bigger or lower depending which industry we are and what its perspectives. We see a bright future for the opportunities that we're having right now, because we're not talking about speculations or Ponzi schemes or whatever other thing. We are talking about solve people problems and find a technology that can be a way of solving people problems.
Yeah, that's the way to invest in everything. There's a video on internet about where Shaquille O'Neal is saying how he decides his investment, and he decided his investment is the way: is this going to change people's lives? That's what I'm going to invest. It's going to make the life of that person or that company easier. That's how I'm going to invest. So I believe that buying properties through NFT is going to make the process much better. That's why I'm bullish on it.
Thank you for your presence here to explain us a little bit about all your knowledge in real estate and what is happening with the economy and the interest rates. Even we explaining a little bit about the first property. Also, just before we closing here, the first property we tokenize here in downtown Miami, we are almost finishing the smart contract, so people will be able to claim all the rights and rewards of that property will be generating. So probably next week we're gonna have this feature working on the website. Our devs are working on this. Even he's here with us in the call, Wellington. And I think we are improving. We are always open to suggestions, feedbacks. This is our first experts talks. We want to make it more. We want to bring more experts, people here to talk to us about real estate, about DeFi, about investments, VC investments, about market perspectives, because we understand that this house, this community that we are building will be about people that want accessible assets and accessible ways of making portfolio investment strategies, and people that believe that we can really build a new world and a better world with technology. So I will let Daniel say his last words. And if we have any question, please just tell me. We can open the microphone for Daniel, and if not, he's here also in our Discord. We can talk here in all of the other channels, but I appreciate a lot of who was here with us.
Yeah, I think my last thoughts on this is, even though here we are on Discord, so most of the people probably know about it, but we're also going to be on YouTube and all the platforms. If you don't know about it, put some money through it that you can afford to lose. Oh, Daniel, but I don't want to lose money. Nobody wants to lose money, but the same way you buy a book and you read it and you don't apply the knowledge that you got in the book, or you go to a course, you pay $1,000 to go to a course and you don't apply the knowledge that you got there, do the same thing. The best way to learn about it is investing on it. That's what I did when we started this whole thing. I was outside of that, and now I bought an NFT. It's going to go up or down, I don't care. I bought it because I want to understand how the process was, how the community is, so you get more, you learn more about this. Even I ask you questions a lot. How do I do this? How do I do that? Because I'm there trying to do it, and that's how you learn it. If you don't know, don't buy for speculation. That's my take on it. Don't buy for speculation. Buy for learning. If you make money, even better. If you're not, you got the knowledge that will make money in the future. So understand it, because NFT can be applied to everything. When you understand that NFT is a contract, is an asset, you can do it with everything, not only real estate, not only art, especially for service providers. And understanding how that works, putting your hands dirty, it's the best way.
Thank you, everyone. So every questions you might have, just put in the chat. We're gonna answer later. Thank you also for our fellows in YouTube that will be watching us here. And thank you, and we are gonna be probably in 2 weeks from now about our next expert talks. So let us suggestions about who you would like to be here with us. Have a great day. Bye bye, guys.
Thank you.